Welcome back to the Nerdy Life Show. Hey! We're back, baby. Back again. Feeling great. This is amazing. I'm back. A lot of great news, a lot of bad news, but a lot of great news. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm sorry that we've been MIA for a while. I got a new co-host, Mr. Bri-Bri, Brian himself. We're going to be talking about some crazy shit, and I want to say shout out to my sister Sammy to having the baby. She had a beautiful baby boy. And
congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Just guys, to let you know, we are here live at Action Burger in Williamsburg. If you guys ever have a chance, please come by and try their food. Their drinks is amazing. We've been coming here for a good minute. You know us. You know we've been here for a while. He's a advocate of here. We just had the Street Fighter tournament. We've interviewed the owner. We're actually going to test out some food also. So we're going to have the food of the week.
Oh, good.
Yo.
Okay, perfect.
Yum.
Yeah, food of the week, drink of the week too, right?
Drink of the week. That's right. See, right now I'm drinking the cherry slushy, the cherry Pepsi slushy.
Yeah.
Which
nice.
is this is cracking the cup.
Oh, that's good. It is. It is. All the drinks here at Action Burger are great. The food is great. My favorite. Should I tell them my favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite is the mac and cheese burger. The mac and cheese burger is #1. I think it's the most popular burger here. The mac and cheese burger.
Well, we had our other former co-host, who's the host of Bro Builders. He has his own channel now.
Yeah.
Brian. He was actually. I'm so sorry about your drink.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about
He
it.
actually had the mac and cheese burger, and we had the pictures of him like this. I remember when he was like, yeah, it was in slow motion as he bit it like
Yes.
So
that was an old promotion. That was a long time ago. That was an old.
Brian, we miss you though. Like we do miss you. But no, I mean we're talking about so many things. Again, I want to apologize for our lateness, and we've been MIA because we've lost a couple of people. You know, with the whole COVID thing, we've actually lost almost 19 people to COVID. And it's been mentally wear and tear on me, type of thing. But I do have the pictures from Comic-Con. I have the pictures from Anime NYC. I want to give a shout out to the folks the Final Fantasy group that I was doing their pictures. And I'm happy to do their pictures and going to be doing more photography with them. Okay. I'm going to be editing that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be editing everything. We're going to be doing photography, more photography work, doing some more things. And hopefully now that the conventions are starting to get open and they're taking the mandate off the mask, we can be doing more conventions.
They also stopped the COVID vaccine mandate for movie theaters. So, I recommend, the vaccine. The vaccine was great for me, but if you're somebody who couldn't get vaccinated because you had certain conditions where you couldn't, you can now go to the movie theater, and go see a movie. Go see a movie AMC.
Like Batman!
Like the Batman.
OMG. So, first off, folks,
great movie. Yes. First of all, great movie.
So y'all know me. You guys know that I write notes for everything. I write and anybody who knows me knows that when I found out that Robert Patterson was going to be Batman, I flipped my lid. Because I was just thinking Batman and glitter and vampire.
I know, right?
I was just like...
And also, I was pointing out, this was back in 2019 when he was announced.
Yeah.
This was like around May of 2019 or June. And I was telling people, if you've seen his performances in the smaller budget movies, he's become a much better actor. And even though I know the Twilight movies are bad, even though I love the Twilight movies, but they're terrible. But here's the thing, I love Robert Pattinson's instincts as an actor, because he viewed Edward Cullen as a serial killer. Okay. So he studied serial killers and psychopaths to get ready for the role.
So I've seen, again, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I've seen I started watching, my friend Geneva, she was like, Jay, you need to go watch his other movies. He's done some great, he's grown since Twilight days.
Like The Lighthouse.
Yeah, like The Lighthouse or Elephant.
Elephant?
Yeah.
He was good in that.
So, I want to really start off right now with this review, I would like to personally apologize to Robert Pattinson because I was the first one to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like,
You weren't the only one.
like I was just like, what the fuck? What? He's gonna be Batman? What? We went from Ben Affleck to Twilight. Like really?
Yeah.
So
Fanboys are wrong again. Right. But you know what? Sometimes fans could be right. We were right that Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman was going to be a mess, and it was. But for the most part, we've been wrong. We were wrong about Michael Keaton. We were wrong about Christian Bale. We were wrong about Heath Ledger. He was perfect as a Joker.
that's true.
We were wrong about
I
Heath
remember
Ledger.
that.
We were wrong about Ben Affleck. He's a lot of people's favorite Batman. A lot of people love Ben Affleck, and so I think most fanboys are wrong about Robert Pattinson. Go ahead.
So no, I agree with you. Like a lot of people came off wrong with some of the characters, with some of the actors playing Batman. Because Batman is such a unique character that you need to have a unique individual to play Batman. You can't just have anybody play Batman. And us fanboys and fangirls and fan genders across the world,
Fans, everybody.
we're very finicky on who plays Batman.
Right.
Me personally, I will always be a fan of the animated series, you know, Batman. And Conroy will always be, you know,
Kevin Conroy will always be great.
yeah. Kevin Conroy will always be my Batman. That's it. Like, so.
He's top 5 for me. Absolutely.
Yeah. But let me tell you something. Pause for a second. Let me tell you something. This was the shit.
Yeah.
This movie was the shizness. What they did with this movie just blew my mind. And everything that they did to the movie, this is the Batman that we wanted, that we were waiting for, that we cried for. This is DC at its peak. From my personal opinion, this is DC at its peak.
Yeah. I'd say the Batman it's the darkest, most realistic, most gritty Batman. And it's not a perfect movie. I don't give it a 10 out of 10, but I would say it's as perfect of a Batman movie as you're going to get because you get to see Batman as the greatest detective. And DC Comics stands for Detective Comics. Right? That's what DC stands for. And in the movie, you see Batman it is a police procedural crime drama mystery thriller where Batman is investigating the crime scenes, looking at the evidence, analyzing the evidence to see where it's going to go. And he goes where Riddler leads him, really. And the comparisons to David Fincher's Seven is very, very spot on because, like Seven, the Riddler, the bad guy, is using the evidence and using his crimes to lead the detectives where he wants them to go, and then it leads to a third act to where things happen the way he wants it to happen, right? But the process of it was very much Detective Comics, and that's why I think it's the best portrayal of Batman. I think Robert Pattinson, the way he was able to portray the anger and the rage and just the ferociousness of Bruce Wayne Batman, I thought was really incredible.
I love the fact that, again, they really grounded him. So they really grounded the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And they brought him down where he's logging in. I can't even tell night from day anymore. You know.
Yeah. He has to wear glasses and
just to let you guys know, there's going to be a lot of spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for everything. From here on out.
I want to talk. Let's actually break. This movie's so good, we have to break it down. So the director itself was Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves is the director. That's right.
Who's done Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes, Cloverfield, and Let In.
Yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Cloverfield.
Those are his top movies.
He's made 6 movies. He also did one movie. It was a romantic comedy back in 1996.
Yes.
Forgot the name of it, but he's done
Me.
6 movies. Remember Me, right?
Yeah.
That must have been it. There's 6 movies in total. The Batman has all of Matt Reeves' themes that he's had in the last 3 or 4 movies, where his movies are all about fear and what fear can actually drive us to do. Fear can drive us to be our worst selves and sometimes our best selves, maybe. You know, and the Batman is all about fear, just like the Batman Begins movie by Christopher Nolan, which is all about fear.
Right.
And the Batman is all about Bruce Wayne's trauma and fear that he experienced as a child, witnessing his parents being killed, and the fear, and reliving it over and over again, and also the fear of the citizens of Gotham, the fear that Batman instills in the criminals, the fear that Riddler deals with from his own trauma, and the fear that he tries to instill in others that are not his followers, people that he wants to terrorize. But one thing I love, though, about the Batman was you see the themes of fear in the movie, but also how much of the trauma dictates who Batman and Bruce Wayne really is in this universe.
Right.
Yeah.
So that I have to give credit to the writers.
Yeah, Matt Reeves.
So,
Matt Reeves was the co-writer with
Matson Tomlin and Bill Finger. So I actually looked them up, and I wanted to make sure that I was, talking about the right people.
and also Peter somebody as well.
Peter Craig.
Peter Craig.
Yes.
Peter Craig. He was the co-writer with Matt Reeves.
He was the screenwriter and the producer.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what Peter Craig did, so again, Ben Affleck. Okay. I'm not a big fan of Ben Affleck, but I do love The Town. And that was one of Peter Craig's movies.
That's right.
Tom's movies.
That's right.
He even did The Hunger Game, Mockingbird 1 and 2, Bad Boys for Life, 12 Strong, Bloodfather. You had all these his library was just like I'm just going like, oh
Yeah,
my
and I love
God.
The Town. The Town is a great movie. Yeah.
Like this is a resume. This is a real resume, and this is what we really need to see in a movie. This is the Batman that we wanted to be around.
Right.
Okay, and then Bill Finger, he's done the animated series. He's done the DC animated universe, DCU. He did the Gotham games.
He did Gotham. He did the Gotham games too. Oh wow, Arkham. Yes, Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
Arkham Knight.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of the third game, the one that came out in 2015.
True, but
Not that one.
But you gotta look at this resume, bro. Like this resume is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You had Little Fish, Bruiser, Until the Sky Falls with Matson.
You had me with The Town. That's
Yeah.
all you had to stop with.
So that was
The
just
Town was great.
That's just that's just the people behind the scenes.
That's just two guys. That's just those.
Yeah. Now, what I don't like is I've been seeing like a lot of conflict with like the whole Zoe Kravitz and her being Catwoman.
I honestly felt she stole the movie. I felt her performance was very layered. It was very three-dimensional. And one thing I love about the theme of fear in the movie, and also, is how it can affect people. Where like Bruce Wayne, Batman's fear and his anger inspires him to want to save Gotham City, and realizes that Gotham is not far from saving, that he can save it. But with Catwoman, it's the opposite. She has apathy.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit. She hates anybody who's rich or corrupted. As far as she's concerned, the mayor who's running for mayor is just all talk, and she'll end up being just as corrupted as everybody else. And she doesn't think there's any hope
She's
for
very
Gotham.
jaded.
Very jaded in comparison to Bruce Wayne.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Wayne is trying to be the hope, and she's more like that sourpuss person that's always like,
Yeah.
If you haven't figured out who
Zoe Kravitz is,
she's been in a couple movies. First off,
A lot.
Let's just
Divergent.
let's just give her top 4. Divergent, the series, all of them.
All 3.
Good Kill. She was the angel, the one with the wings, in X-Men First Class.
That's right, she was in that movie.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
She was also in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yes, she was in that.
So this is her resume,
And she is the stepdaughter of Jason Momoa.
right?
And she's the daughter of Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. Yeah.
Who's the most funkiest dude that you'll ever know.
I know, one of the greatest musicians, rock music, rock and roll ever. Period.
We love you, Lenny.
We love Lenny. And I love Lisa Bonet.
Yes.
Damn good actress.
Yes. But yeah, no. If you guys have never seen her work, that's what she's done.
Yeah.
Okay. What she did in this. So we're gonna talk about I want to talk about the characters themselves and see what's their resume.
She's also in the Hulu series called High Fidelity,
Yes.
which sadly got canceled.
But you see,
but she
the
was
whole-
good in
like,
it.
I
She
didn't-
was good in it.
You see, and so was her mother. Her mother was in High Fidelity.
She's good too.
In
she was in the
actual
original.
movie, right?
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot.
oh my God, what's his name? It was just
John Cusack.
John Cusack.
High Fidelity is great. The original movie with Jack Black.
Yes,
Go ahead.
that was the intro to Jack Black.
Yes, that's what started his career. That's right.
It's one of my top favorite movies.
Yeah,
like,
my all-time favorite.
because the music was amazing, the cast was amazing.
Yeah.
I just want to pause for a second.
Go ahead.
So there was one scene in High Fidelity that I always said was too real for the movie.
Okay.
So you had John Cusack and his sister Joan Cusack playing in the same movie.
Playing brother and sister.
Playing brother and sister.
That's right.
So there's a scene in the movie where I don't know if he pissed her off before the scene. I don't know if he like pushed her buttons
On purpose. Yeah.
on purpose. But she came in and just did this Spartan 300 kick to the door and said, "You're a fucking asshole."
I know.
And just walked out.
It was so great.
And I was like, that's not acting.
I know. That's like a real life situation. I know those two have gotten into it many, many times. And they still love each other.
Yeah,
My family still does.
It was just like that whole scene. I was just like, I don't think she's acting anymore.
That was so funny.
So now that we talked about Zoe, let's talk about Robert Pattinson. You know, of course we know him from Twilight, the Twilight series. Harry
Lost
Potter.
City of Z.
Yes.
Harry Potter 4.
Which he got
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
Remember Me, The King, Water for the Elephant, which is definitely one of my picks to watch now.
Yeah.
So that's probably why
He's grown as an actor.
Yeah. And he's always been good. But here's the thing with Twilight. Again, I love those movies, but I admit they're bad movies, right? They're guilty pleasures of mine. But here's my thing with Twilight. Nobody is winning an Oscar in Twilight, and the
Especially Kristen Stewart.
Right, Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart's become a great actress now too. But no, she has. You gotta watch the independent movies, the smaller movies. She's grown too. But the thing is, if Daniel Day-Lewis was in those movies, he's not winning an Oscar for those movies because you have to remember, Twilight is melodrama. And melodrama, even if it's great, is most likely not going to win an Oscar unless it's insanely good. Unless it's really, really good. But Kristen Stewart's given great performances in Clouds of Sils Maria, Personal Shopper. She was great in Camp X-Ray. She's great in Spencer. She just got nominated for an Oscar for the first time for Spencer, where she plays Princess Diana. She was great in that. And so she and Robert Pattinson have grown a lot as actors after Twilight. But let's go on with Robert Pattinson. Talk about how amazing he's been.
He's actually developed his skill to like the nth degree.
Right.
And what he did with this Batman, he's definitely up my top. Like he pushed out, other people.
He's my second best Batman. He's my number 2.
I would say 3. For me, it's 3.
My number 1 would be Christian Bale, then Robert Pattinson, and then Ben Affleck, and then Kevin Conroy.
No,
Michael
Kevin Conroy.
Yours is number 1, Kevin Conroy? Okay.
Michael Keaton, and then
Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Oh, okay, so you think Robert Pattinson's better than Christian Bale?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you can hear, again, major spoiler. So you know how Christian Bale had to put that like, I'm Batman, and
his bad voice is terrible. Yes, I agree.
This boy did such a great job with the voice.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like he was forcing it. I didn't feel like he was trying to push it too hard or trying to go against the grain. He did it in a way that, damn, bro, you put chills on my spine. Like, you feel like you're Batman.
Yeah, and what I loved about Robert Pattinson's performance was, his voice sounds normal, right? When he's the Batman, it sounds like a normal, monotone, quiet voice, but it has a hint of menace to it. It's very ferocious and very menacing. But then there are moments where he makes it more of a growl, but it sounds more natural. It's not like he's straining it, because the problem with Christian Bale's Batman voice, especially in The Dark Knight, was there were times where it sounded so over the top.
Yo, I thought it was watching a death metal concert.
It was like a death metal concert, but also Christian Bale's voice it sounded too strained, and like he was forcing it, and it sounded like he had a hard time breathing in the suit.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't breathe through his nose, so when he's doing the voice, everything is coming out through his mouth. It was like, and it just sounded so over the top. And that's another thing that hurts The Dark Knight for me. I think The Dark Knight is a really good movie, but I'm in the minority when I say that it's not the best Batman movie.
No.
The best Batman movie for me is Batman Begins, because I do think Christian Bale's Batman voice is better in that movie.
Right.
Christian Bale's Batman voice was better in The Dark Knight Rises, but The Dark Knight Rises had other problems that hurt the movie. But I think Robert Pattinson's Batman voice, you're right, it was great. And even though I do like Ben Affleck's Batman voice, what he did with it is that he used like a computer thing to make his voice sound a certain way. You know, like Oliver Queen and Arrow, where he had like this voice.
Failed this city.
Yeah, this voice thing where he made his voice a little robotic, and I love that in Ben Affleck. But I like that Robert Pattinson went a more realistic, more calming approach to it.
I like
more subtle.
Okay, when it comes into Ben Affleck's version, I do agree with you. I like the version that he uses some, because it shows the technologies that he has at his disposal, that he can change his voice and be more like growling without actually sounding like he's like a 30-year-old smoker, you know.
Yeah.
But Patterson, I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Robert Pattinson knocked it out of the park, and I was telling people that for 3 years. I said, listen, you gotta look at his smaller budget movies, and he's become a better actor. It's not even that he's grown. You know, the cast of Twilight didn't love those movies. And so they gave the performance based on how they felt.
Which was shit.
Which was shit. But I also, just the themes of the Batman was so good, but we'll get into that after we get to talking to performances. Let's talk about Paul Dano. You want to talk about Paul Dano?
Yes, that's actually the next question.
Okay.
So I remember Paul Dano when I watched Little Miss Sunshine, because I was a big Steve.
I love that movie.
What's his name from?
Steve Carell. Yeah, he was great in that movie.
And I was like, oh, this is a movie by Steve Carell, but it was an independent movie, and I was just like, oh, I didn't hear no commercials about it or nothing.
Right. It was very under the radar.
Yeah, and I was
sleeper
like,
hit.
And I rented it out from Blockbuster. Like, that's right, Blockbuster people.
Yeah, when Blockbuster existed before Netflix killed it.
You know.
The Blockbuster before Netflix killed it. Yes.
Yeah. So I watched the movie and I was like, this is actually a really good movie.
It was great. It was very funny, very dramatic.
But I'm gonna tell you something though. This kid creeps me the fuck out.
Yeah, and I didn't think his performance was as great as Heath Ledger's Joker, but it was great enough. And Paul Dano's gotten better as an actor. In the 2000s, he was a good actor, but he wasn't great. He still had some flaws. Like when you look at Paul Dano in There Will Be Blood, he's good, but in comparison to Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, it's just there's no comparison. No. You can't compete. So there are very few actors that can hold their own against Daniel Day-Lewis and go toe to toe with him on an equal playing field. Paul Dano wasn't it, but that was still a great movie.
Well, remember, he was also in other things. He was in The Guilty, Cowboys and Aliens.
Hated that movie, but yeah, terrible movie.
Not one of your best, bro.
Yeah, worst Jon Favreau movie ever.
Okay. He's grown, but he can play a real good serial killer. Or like a, and I mean this in a good way, like a child molester, you know, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, he has a certain creepiness to him.
you know what he reminded me of? I think, and this is an homage to Robin Williams. He could have played the photo. What was the movie called? Something. Photo shoot, 1 hour photo.
1 hour photo.
Yeah,
that was a great movie.
That was
great performance.
Great performance by Robin Williams.
Robin Williams could have been a great Joker. Yeah, he would have been a great Joker. Yeah.
He would have been the older Joker.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
But he can play that part. Like he played that part. If you ever watched like 1 hour photo, this kid, if they ever did it again, a new one, like he could play the role.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought Riddler was really well written, but also into the themes of the movie, like Batman took his trauma and decided to use it to exact vengeance for his parents' death before he realized that he should be more of an inspiration.
Right.
But this version of Riddler is more of an angry, like incel white guy off of Reddit, you know, where he's taking his anger out on innocents and blaming everybody for his problems, which because of so much income inequality and problems and corruption in our country, we're seeing that more and more. But
that's why I see this one. I don't know if it's just me, but I see this one more connected with the Joker. Like the way that the Joker felt. Like I feel more. like if they told me that this was in the same universe as the Joker, I would believe it more.
So like that kind of hits
Yeah.
Because
speed.
the feel of the movie was so
The nanoscanners.
uncomfortably realistic. Like that camera view on Patterson, just the way that Paul Dano was talking, like every the littlest thing made it creepy.
It was a grounded like crime drama David Fincher movie. It drew a lot of similarities to Zodiac as well because because both movies, Zodiac and the Batman, both of those movies open up with a murder, but both of the murders are done to a very joyful song, joyful music.
Right.
The Batman opens up to a very joyful, beautiful song, and it plays during the opening murder of the Batman, where Riddler is murdering the mayor of Gotham City. And in the Zodiac, the serial killer is killing somebody in the opening of that movie. It's done to a very popular upbeat song in the 70s.
And that's another thing. I would just want to tell you guys the soundtrack to this movie is badass.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting the soundtrack.
I love Nirvana. I love Kurt Cobain. And that was another thing too. Kurt Cobain's Nirvana connects very much to the themes of the Batman, and it connects to Bruce Wayne because Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves envisioned this Bruce Wayne more like a Kurt Cobain, a young broken man who is broken and jaded from society and makes music for the disenfranchised, for the disenchanted. And what a lot of people don't know about great rock music in the early 90s cared so many about issues that are still relevant to this day. Back then they cared about feminist issues. They cared about income inequality. They cared about institutional racism. They cared about LGBTQ rights and everything.
Yeah.
And Kurt Cobain embodied so much of the suffering of young Americans in the late 80s, early 90s. And Robert Pattinson really embodies that in Batman a lot. And that's why I felt Nirvana and Kurt Cobain was like the perfect choice.
So I'm gonna let you know, like that's my era.
Yeah.
The whole 90s like grunge and alternative music.
Yeah.
Like when you said the LGBT community and everything, we had L7.
Yeah.
We had like Hole. We had so many great female bands, so many female groups. Tracy Bottom, like so many like Meredith Brooks. So many great artists that nobody talks about because they only talk about like Alanis Morissette and then that's it. But if you guys ever have the chance, go back to that time.
Yeah, and then when after Kurt Cobain died, rock music kind of died with him, and a lot of the negativity and troglodyte stuff of rock music was there in the early '90s, but then it just got a lot worse by 1999. 1999, it was just all anger. But yeah, the Batman, Kurt Cobain, Nirvana fits so well with the movie and what Robert Pattinson was trying to do.
And that slow pace.
And of course the best fight scene, the best beatdown in the history of Batman movies was the opening fight scene where Bruce Wayne Batman is beating the living shit out of a criminal, out of a gangster. In the opening of the movie, that you saw in the trailer. Remember, we saw it in DC
I'm Vengeance. And
I'm Vengeance. Yeah, and remember, that is an 8-second scene where he's beating the crap out of a criminal.
So
they kept that whole scene in the movie, and people in the theater were like, "Holy shit! Whoa!"
So that whole scene, if you guys ever seen Batman Beyond, okay, it's a better option of Batman Beyond. So in Batman Beyond, there was Jokers. There was people dressed up as Jokers, idolizing Jokers, going around terrorizing people, doing random like the knockout game that was like a couple of years ago, and that beer, they saw the back signal, and all of a sudden they had that beer on them.
Yeah.
So they're about to beat the shit out of this one guy, and you know what was creepy? When he was walking out, those like his footsteps. Jokers and Batman Beyond, Batman Beyond, the Terry McGinnis had Jokers. And they kind of had the same thing in Disney where they were doing the random punches and knocking out people. And whoever was doing the camera, the cinematography?
The cinematography? Yeah.
On his feet. Like
it's breathtaking. Yeah, I know. It was so awesome.
Like, what the hell is like you were scared for them while they're getting their ass beat.
Yeah, you were scared for them while you know that they were the criminals. Because that's the thing, when you're at the beginning of that scene, you're looking at the criminals, you're seeing what they're doing is terrible, you're hoping Batman gets to them. And when Batman puts his hands on them, you end up scared for them.
Yeah, like,
but that opening is the greatest opening to a Batman movie I've ever seen. You know why? Because the music in the opening added to like this emotional, like intense crescendo to this build-up, because first you hear Robert Pattinson's voice, right? And this is after Riddler kills the mayor. You hear Robert Pattinson's voice. You see the bat signal in the sky. Criminals in different parts of Gotham City are committing crimes. They see the bat signal. They get scared shitless. They are looking at different alleys. They're looking everywhere to see what's dark, and they're like, he could be here. Let's run. Let's go away.
Yeah, like,
he could be anywhere.
Like, they were just looking at shadows, and they were like...
They were scared of their own shadow. They were scared of every shadow.
Yeah.
And they were just running away. And then finally Batman shows up in the subway. And just the music and the build-up and the cinematography. And Bruce Batman beating the crap out of that gangster. So incredible. Such a great intro.
You know who really did a supporting cast though was Jeffrey Wright.
He was great.
As he's the Lieutenant Gordon.
Yeah.
Because this is still early Batman. So think like year 1 Batman.
This is year 2 Batman.
Yeah, year 2.
Because in the movie they say year 2.
Yeah, so Gordon's not commissioner yet.
Right.
The government is still corrupted by the mafia. There's still mad shit going on, and Batman is known but not as known.
Right.
Like he's not like he's a shadow, like a whisper, like he's a vigilante.
Well, actually, by year 2, I think in the movie everybody knows who he is, but they're still scared to be around him. They're still afraid of him.
Like the cop, like the Spanish
all the
cop,
cops, all the cops, yeah. But what's so great I love about this movie is that you see Batman in crime scenes. When have you seen that? Where Batman is not only in a crime scene, he's in the middle of a crime scene around all the cops. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie was when he's touching evidence and he's looking in the notebook when they're in the Riddler's room in the 3rd act of the movie. They're in Riddler's room, he's touching all this stuff, and then one of the cops says, Gordon, what about the chain of evidence? And then Gordon's like, don't worry, he's wearing gloves. Like, he's wearing gloves. It doesn't matter, he's not going to contaminate anything. And I thought that was so hilarious, the way they did that.
So, I want to talk about Penguin.
Colin Farrell.
I was not impressed. I'm gonna like that's one of the things that kind of hurt the movie from my personal opinion.
He was disappointing in comparison to the trailer, right?
Yes.
Because it felt like he had more screen time in the trailer than he did in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Colin Farrell is, like he's been an actor for a couple of years. He's been in the phone booth. He was Bullseye from Daredevil, the movie.
SWAT.
SWAT.
Alexander, The New World.
Yeah,
In Bruges.
Miami
Vice.
The new Total Recall. The Recruit.
Season 2 of True Detective.
So terrible. He has a huge resume.
Yeah.
That shows you.
And for him to do it so lackluster,
So I cut that.
Yeah.
it kind of disappointed me with him.
Well, you see, I thought his performance was incredible, but my issue with it was that he didn't have a lot of screen time. And in comparison to everything else, he felt like almost unnecessary. Like he was just there to set up the sequel.
Right.
Because when Falcone is, spoiler alert, Falcone is killed by the Riddler. So who was the lead gangster and the lead mayor since he had the fund, that fund that was used to build back Gotham City, to make Gotham City better. When Thomas Wayne is killed, either because of Falcone or because of somebody else, there was a power grab, and all the criminals wanted that money. And since it was, what was it? A donation? It was a fund.
So yeah, so like again with Colin Farrell in this movie, like I just want to like explain something to you. He just felt more like a normal mobster.
Right. And that's what I thought was great about him. But I was going to say that what I loved about Colin Farrell's performance was
Purchase the book if you can. And
he embodied a New York City, New Jersey mob guy, right? He didn't really, he looked the part, he sounded the part, he physically, with his facial expressions, became Penguin for me. And that's why I felt like and he has a very thick Irish accent, but he sounded like Italian. He sounded like he was from New York.
Right.
And I thought he was really incredible. Danny DeVito's Penguin is better, even though I thought Batman Returns is a terrible movie. But besides that, Besides that, I do like Danny DeVito's Penguin, and I thought Michelle Pfeiffer's still the best Catwoman, but Zoe Kravitz is the best Selena Kyle.
Right.
I think she was a better Selena Kyle. But go ahead, explain how you feel about Colin Farrell.
So we're gonna get back to Catwoman in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to Catwoman too.
So I get the scars, I get everything, but again, he's not. It just feels to me like he's just a regular mobster.
Okay.
Like I can see him in more Sopranos than Batman.
That's what I loved about it. Because it's about that grounded reality. Because Batman is a gangster movie, it's a crime drama with superhero aspects, but this is a movie that could have fit with The Sopranos, it could have fit with Goodfellas, it could have been Casino, but the main character is the vigilante.
But again, like even if it's like grounded like that, even the Gotham Penguin, the skinny, Penguin, he was menacing and creepy at the same time. That's what I was. When I think of Penguin, I think of somebody like limping, like that Penguin-ish vibe mentality. You don't have to go so dramatic like Danny DeVito or like the '60s Batman.
Yeah.
You can actually just be a penguin without being the Penguin.
And Tim Burton's Batman movies are not my favorites. They're more over the top, campy type of Batman, but with like a more darker tone. It's like a darker version of what Adam West's Batman. Like, what if Adam West's Batman was a little bit darker and more serious? It would be Tim Burton's movies, right? Like there's still that over the top campiness stuff going on, but it's not my type of Batman. But I understood what Danny DeVito was going for, and it worked a lot for Danny DeVito. It was a really good performance, but I think Colin Farrell is my favorite.
Okay, he's not one of my favorites. I personally, when it comes down to Penguins,
a lot of people agree with you too. A lot of people.
I would say Danny DeVito's number one. The Penguin from The Batman, the animated series.
That's the best Penguin. Yeah.
Because he actually fought.
Yeah.
Unlike the other Penguins that were like kind of like, like just running away, he fought. Like he actually did combat moves.
Yeah.
And then comes the Penguin from Gotham.
Right.
I love that dude. Just play. I just get like you feel like he can kill you and just walk the fuck away.
Actually, you know what? He might be the best Penguin.
Exactly.
But I haven't finished all 5 seasons yet.
Well,
I gave him around season 2 of Gotham. I couldn't stick with it. It was a little too nutty for me. But it was a lot of fun. From what I remember. He was a great Penguin though.
So besides that, you have Carmine Falcone.
John Turturro was perfect.
John Turturro
was perfect. He was incredible.
Yo, he's so versatile with his characters sometimes.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great actor.
And like, you just feel like he gets immersed in the characters.
Yeah, he actually is a great method actor when he wants to be. When he wants to be a chameleon and really become his characters. John Turturro, remember how great he was in The Big Lebowski? He was phenomenal in that. He was great in this miniseries on HBO called The Plot Against America. It's 6 episodes. He was great in that. He's great in Do the Right Thing. He was great in Jungle Fever.
Yeah, so that's
he's
actually on my resume right now because he was in Bayformers. If you don't know, he was in the Bayformers.
Transformers, yes.
We don't consider that.
Well, the first movie was okay. The sequels were just racist.
That was just bad.
I know.
Ridiculous 6. Don't mess with the Zohan. Do the Right Thing, and one of his first movies was Raging Bull.
That's right. He was in that movie. That's right.
So
by Martin Scorsese.
Yes.
Yeah. Great movie.
So but unfortunately, for me, he didn't get to. What's the word I'm looking for? He didn't get too interesting until the end.
Right.
You see, like when I think of Carmine Falcone, I think of the Dark Knight, the Batman Begins one.
Yeah.
The one where, like, don't come in here. Don't act all tough. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. When Bale went into the club and knowing that there's judges and commissioners and all that.
And police, all dining with him.
Yeah, like, and he's like,
don't do that. Don't come in here with your anger. Yeah.
Like he's like, don't do that. I was like, that to me is Carmine Falcone.
Yeah. But John Turturro's performance was similar to that, and it was in the sense that it was a very calm, relaxed. Like that's how Falcone should be portrayed. And I think both portrayals nail who he is in the comic books. He's until he gets confronted by the Batman. For the most part, he is a calm, cool, collected villain.
Yeah.
He is a calm, cool, collected mob boss who has the confidence of being in control of everything. Everything. Like he has everybody within his pocket.
And I guess for me, like he was a little too calm.
Yeah.
For my taste, he was just a little too cool, too jovial. But he got near, like, what was the second phase?
When you get to the third act of the movie.
Yeah, like when you get to the near the end, it's like, woo! That's what he just.
Because like literally like the last 90 minutes of the movie. So because like okay, so like the Riddler gets kidnapped, he's in the jail, talking to Batman. That's after the first 90 minutes of the movie. And so there's like another hour and 15 minutes left on the movie. So yeah, it's like closer to that where closer to the first 2 hours where you see Falcone really act a little bit more unhinged. You know, because his daughter confronts him about their mother, and that's when things start to, he gets the feeling things are going south.
Yeah,
things are starting to go south. Yeah.
So let's talk about the one of the last major actors in this movie, which is Alfred Pennyworth,
Yes.
played by Andy Serkis. If you don't know who he was Gollum from Lord of the Rings. He was
Oscar in the Planet of the Apes trilogy. He played Oscar.
Caesar.
No, Caesar. Yeah, it's Caesar. Why do I keep calling him Oscar?
I don't know.
His name is Caesar.
Because he deserves an Oscar.
You're right, he did. He deserved an Oscar for that movie. But
the new Star Wars, he plays Snoke.
Snoke, he played Snoke. He played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes trilogy. He played Gollum. He was in the Prestige.
Yes, and he was in Black Panther as Claw.
That's right. He played Claw.
Yeah. So him playing
And Age of Ultron.
yes, and him playing Alfred. As much as he didn't have that much of a line,
He really embodied him a lot.
yeah, like you can see that fatherly figure.
Yeah. And the love he has for Bruce Wayne and the Wayne family. Like, you know Dark Knight, I hate to segue here, but you know in The Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
where Alfred abandons Bruce Wayne in the movie, that scene always pisses me off. Because that is not Alfred. Alfred would never, ever abandon Bruce Wayne, no matter what the circumstances are. Even if Bruce Wayne is going on a suicide mission, he would never abandon somebody who he considers to be his own son. Alfred would never do that. And that was one of the worst parts of The Dark Knight Rises.
And I agree with you.
And what I love about the Batman is that you see the fatherly love that Alfred has towards Bruce Wayne. And that scene in the hospital, even though that scene...
when he was just like, that's not, he really
that scene,
grabbed him.
Right, that scene in the movie drags the movie. But what's so powerful about that scene is that you see the love that Alfred has towards Bruce Wayne and the Wayne family, and with him explaining to Bruce Wayne how your father was still a good man, but he made a mistake of going to Falcone about the reporter who was going to report on his wife being in and out of psych hospitals, institutions. And he made a mistake of going to Falcone. He should have known that Falcone would get that reporter killed,
right.
But he was naive and he made a mistake. And the look on Andy Serkis' face as Alfred confessing that, and the pain and the anguish on his face was so great, which that scene goes to the themes of fear in the movie, because it was Thomas Wayne's fear of his wife being outed that led to the death of that reporter, that led to Falcone wanting Thomas Wayne to be in his pocket, to possibly leading Falcone to kill Thomas Wayne, though we don't know. It was never confirmed. And all of that is what led to the chaos of Gotham for 20 years that led to Bruce Wayne, Batman, and the Riddler, and everything else.
You know what all that sounds like? Fear leads into the dark side.
Yeah. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Oh, God. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Yoda.
Yes, the Yoda philosophy. That's exactly it.
That's Batman's philosophy, Yoda.
Yeah, and the original trilogy was all about fear, chaos, pain.
Yeah.
And the Batman is all about fear and how that could lead to such terrible, damaging consequences. But it could also, sometimes fear could lead to enlightenment, which I feel that Bruce Wayne Batman has at the end of the movie, where he realizes he has to be a symbol of hope and not just be a tyrannical monster who is exacting vengeance all the time.
So, now that we spoke about everything, I want to break down, I want to talk about the movie itself.
Yeah.
Because it is 3 hours long, bro. It's 3 hours long.
And you will feel the length, because Matt Reeves, when it comes to big budget movies, he takes a more European approach to filmmaking and storytelling, where he's all about tone, atmosphere, and mood. And with European filmmakers, there's not a lot of action in their movies. They do take their time to develop scenes, world building, character development. They take their sweet time, and Denis Villeneuve does the same thing with Blade Runner 2049 and Dune. Dune is a very slow-paced movie, but it's also a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. But one thing I love about what Warner Brothers, they're taking a chance with directors like Matt Reeves and Denis Villeneuve, where they're allowing these directors to bring a European style of storytelling and filmmaking to very expensive, big budget, $200 million movies where there's not action sequences every 10 minutes. There's action, and then there's scenes of just dialogue and characterization and development and establishment of mood and tone and atmosphere. And it is so appealing to my personal preference.
No.
It's great, but it really is a personal preference. I swear.
But that's what we need. We needed.
Right.
This is the Batman that we needed. This is the Dark Knight detective.
Right.
That we've always wanted. We wanted to see him be more of the detective than just a gadget going person.
Yeah. And I like Michael Bay's style of filmmaking when he's making his own movies. But I don't need a Batman action fest where there's something going on every 10, 15 minutes. Right? I don't need that. You don't need that in a Batman movie.
Right.
A Batman could just be the way Matt Reeves directed it. A Batman movie could be fun and campy. I mean, there's the Lego Batman movie. There was always something going on in that movie. And it's a fun movie, but, you know, Batman doesn't need to be made in one way. But Matt Reeves' approach to filmmaking and Denis Villeneuve that's my personal preference.
So you know what? I'll give you that. It's a Batman noir.
Yeah, Batman film noir, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
this is a neo film noir completely.
Yeah. And if you're a fan of that, like Spider-Man noir,
Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogarts don't have a lot of action either.
You know, this is the movie that you really want to see.
Yeah.
Even if you never ever watched Batman before, like you've never been a Batman fan before, you didn't watch the other movies of Batman, you can watch this movie and start from scratch.
Yeah, of course. And what's so great about the Batman is that just like Batman Begins, it is 100% about Batman. And that's what I loved about Batman Begins. The reason why I never liked Tim Burton's movies, I didn't like Joel Schumacher's movies, is because even though Batman Forever was the first Batman movie that was sort of about Batman, the primary focus was on the villains. Riddler got all the character development for the most part. Batman's psychology and duality was explored just a little bit, and that's what I liked about that movie. It was just too campy to be to my liking. But those movies were not completely about Batman. Batman Begins was fundamentally about Bruce Wayne Batman, and the Batman is completely about the Batman. And what makes the Batman so great is that, yeah, it's a film noir about Batman, but they use Batman's backstory and character development to develop the Riddler. Right. Because his origin story is connected to the Riddler because of the orphanage. Thomas Wayne created a fund to help the orphanage, and when he died, the fund went nowhere, and the orphanage went to shit. And Bruce Wayne ended up becoming Batman because of the death of his parents. Riddler ended up becoming the psychopath Riddler. So both of their origin stories and their characterizations are very much connected to each other. And I was like, yes, this is the best way to develop a Batman story.
Right, because you see the domino effect of everybody connected to everything.
Yeah.
So everybody, there was a connection to everything.
And no one gets away clean. No. Right, no one gets away clean.
Even like again going back to the Penguin, like everything was connected to. He was connected to the mob boss. I was connected to this one. He was connected to this.
And they were all connected to Bruce Wayne.
Right.
In one way or another, either directly or indirectly, every character in the Batman was connected to Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Batman movie as a whole, because the Batman movie was amazing. The suit itself was gorgeous.
It was a good suit. Yeah.
It was gorgeous. And I just met this dude like last week, and he was talking about the Batman when it came out, and I stopped what the fuck I was doing. Like, I was playing Marvel vs. Capcom, and I stopped what I was doing just to go listen to the way he was talking, because the way that you said something about that Patterson didn't become a diesel Batman, like, Ben Affleck.
Right, he chose not to work out.
Right.
And that was smart because Robert Pattinson was focusing on Bruce Wayne. He was focusing on Batman more as a martial artist. And martial artists usually don't have big, bulky muscles. They have more longer, like leaner muscles. because a lot of martial artists like Bruce Lee or Jet Li or whoever will focus on speed and agility. And the fight scenes in the Batman were so great because Robert Pattinson was moving so fast. And he was focusing on speed and agility, and that's what... And if someone's faster than you, it's harder to beat them in a fight because you don't see their punches or strikes coming.
Right.
And that's what made Batman so effective in his fight scenes, was how fast and how quick he was.
Another thing I want to talk about is the suit. Like, we're going to go back to the suit where it was more grounded.
Yeah.
It was more protective.
More about speed,
Yeah, more about speed. Even the collar, like the littlest detail. You really got to watch this movie at least like twice or three times.
I'm seeing it 5 times. I know I am.
Like, even the littlest detail in the collar.
Yeah.
Because if you ever listen to Michael Keaton talk about the Batman when he did it, and Christian Bale and everybody, they always say that the cowl is stiff and they couldn't move the cowl. They actually gave him a collar where it's separated here.
Yeah, they did that for Christian Bale for the sequels.
Right.
They gave him a new suit, that's right.
So that's another, like, it was, what's the word? Fundamentally accurate.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it wasn't like a stiff suit. And then the signal itself, the emblem came off as the batarang. Like, he was actually using it as a knife, batarang, this, that, and the fourth.
The symbol? Oh yeah, that was great.
When he went like
he
this,
could cut things, he could throw stuff. Yeah, that was great.
I will tell you this though. Hottest scene that I have to say was the club scene.
Yeah, it was great.
That was straight out of the animation.
Yeah.
when he just went and just started fighting the shit out of everybody and just going ham on everybody.
There was so many elements from the animated series, but also there were so many great elements from the comic books, like the third. Can we talk about the third act?
Yes.
Okay, so the third act where Riddler decides to blow up the seawall to flood Gotham City. That came from this really good Batman comic book called Year Zero. In Year Zero, the seawall gets blown up by some criminal or whatever. The water floods Gotham City, and then Riddler takes that as an opportunity to take over Gotham City and to basically control the citizens and everything. And Batman and the police have to take down Riddler and basically save Gotham City from their situation that they're in. In the Batman, it's the complete opposite, where Riddler's coming in, he's committing crimes, he's terrorizing Gotham City, and then he blows up the seawall to bring the water in. So the movie
to bring more confusion. And
more confusion, more chaos, and to basically destroy a good portion of Gotham City for now. They'll try and fix it, but that ending was so great because it was very faithful to the comic books, but it was in reverse. It wasn't the beginning of the story, it was the end of the story. And it's going to be used to possibly do the rest of the story in either Year Zero or possibly other Riddler story, like in what's the comic book? No Man's Land, where Gotham is completely separate from the rest of society, and Riddler plays a very important part in No Man's Land, as well as Bane and other supervillains. And I know Matt Reeves wants to take a more ensemble approach with Batman's rogue gallery. He doesn't want to focus on one villain at a time. And the Batman has like 3 or 4 different villains. And with the Batman 2, he wants to focus on probably Riddler, Joker, everybody, to make these stories a reality.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
When you mention the comic books and everything, I agree with you a lot because I got the vibe of the Hush.
Yeah.
The Hush series. If you've never read the Hush series, you know, Batman Hush.
It was a good comic book. Yeah, very good.
That was a very good series. Check it out if you ever have the chance to, because that's the vibe that I get from this.
Yeah.
From just the way that they designed the Riddler, that they designed Batman, you know, the whole taping.
You can see Hush, the word Hush in Riddler's background in the videotapes. So Hush might be in the sequel.
Yeah.
And that was a really great villain.
This movie is just, there's so much shit to talk about.
And also Long Halloween. Long Halloween had all of his villains in like a marathon. Right? It was Batman dealing with one villain after another in Long Halloween.
And you have, you know, so now that we talked about Batman, Catwoman, and how she was developed in the movie, people are complaining about her development in the movie. I personally liked it. Like, I had no expectations with her, and the way that
she knocked it out of the park. I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was very more fluent than Hathaway. Her suit was more seductive.
And also the way she moved so fast with her body, the way she was moving her body was very quick and very agile. I thought they were like doing fast motion with how she was moving with her body. She was so fast. in how she did almost everything.
Like her fighting stuff.
Yeah.
So I really feel like they could have kind of brought like they're trying to make up for the mistake of Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Still the worst superhero movie of all time, Catwoman. Halle Berry was beautiful. She was gorgeous. No lie. No lie.
So-
she was great.
so, I was talking-
as far
I was
as how
talking-
she looked, but Catwoman is clearly the worst
movie ever.
Worst superhero movie of all time.
Only seconded by Captain Marvel. So
Oh,
yeah.
I like Captain Marvel, sir.
This is why we need this. But
The only one that was almost as bad as Catwoman was Elektra and X-Men 3. X-Men 3 was the worst.
bro,
Go ahead.
you really want me to throw a spade like Dragon Ball Evolution, don't you?
You don't like you like X-Men 3?
No.
I hated X-Men 3.
God.
X-Men 3 was the worst.
Oh God, that actually hurt a little bit.
I know, that movie was so bad. What a
You
disappointment.
feel like
Yeah. But
her combat scenes was so on point. Like
Yeah.
the way that she was fighting, like her motion, like it feels like she was a street fighter.
she did a lot of body acting for her role.
Right.
The way she would move is like she wasn't even twitching, but the way she moved was so quick. It was like a second, like a split second.
Like there was this one scene where she was in the mobster scene, and there was a dude coming up behind her. She just like caught him by the throat.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yo, what the? Like she literally, I didn't even see this kick coming out of nowhere.
I know. It was great.
Like, I was like, yo, what the? Like, where the hell did that come from?
It was great.
But that she's Falcon's daughter, and that her mother was a dancer,
Yeah.
in the club. I can see her doing the Eartha Kitt version of Catwoman, because she does have like that very seductive,
Yeah.
very and I feel like they could do that more, and
Yeah.
they should pay more homage to Eartha Kitt with her.
Yeah.
With Zoe.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of people were upset that Jim Gordon was played by, an African American actor, but I thought Jeffrey Wright really embodied Gordon, and he looks like Gordon.
Yeah.
Really, other than a different skin complexion, he looked exactly like Gordon. Like he looked.
I thought it was.
I thought it was
like,
great.
fuck it.
And there are some people on Twitter trying to say, well, all the white characters are portrayed as evil or whatever, and the black characters are not. And I'm like, well, I don't think it has anything to do with race or gender per se. Like some people want to believe on the internet.
That was one of the things.
I think it has to do with who the characters are, because Bruce Wayne is the hero of the story, and he is very smart. He's very intelligent. He's not an idiot. Even though he doesn't kidnap the Riddler allows himself to get kidnapped just like Seven to unveil his master
Right.
plan. And then you got Alfred, played by Andy Serkis, who's a white man. He was the most lovable character in the movie. So I don't know what these alt-right guys, I guess, on the internet are so upset about.
Morons.
They're just morons. I don't know what they're saying. They're totally clueless.
Just fuck them.
Yeah, I just don't listen to them. I mean, okay, there was maybe only one woke dialogue that I could see could make people roll their eyes, where Catwoman is saying that.
So her whole body movement and everything, and the way that she reacted to Batman and the chemistry on the chemistry that they had in the film,
Yeah.
it actually portrayed Catwoman a little bit better. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I like the way that she played it. I think they should really play off with her. And Zoe, please, I love you to death, but you really need to go toward the Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, and if Matt Reeves is going where I think he's going to be going with this Batman trilogy, yeah, if Matt Reeves really wants to go where I think he's going to go, Catwoman is going to be in the sequels a lot, because when you look at Year Zero, No Man's Land, and all these other Batman movies, Batman comic books and stories that influence the Batman and could influence the sequels going forward, and Hush, Catwoman is in all of them. She's in all of them.
She's a major staple in each and every.
Yeah, she's not only in all of them, she helps out Batman many times in these comic books and in these stories. She's in a relationship with him. He proposes to her. She says yes. They get married in one of these comic books, in one of these stories. So she's always going to be an important love interest to him. And I thought Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz had very good chemistry in the movie. I think the best chemistry he had is still with Kristen Stewart in Twilight. even though those movies are terrible. But his Stewart with Zoe Kravitz is good. It's a very good chemistry. I'm sorry for fanboying over those movies. I know they're terrible, and I do not care. I wear my love with pride. They are my guilty pleasure.
I cringe as like, yeah.
But legitimately, none of those movies are even a 5 out of 10.
So again, when it comes down to like Gordon, like we were talking about like how the racism and everything of that jazz.
Yeah, and you know what? That was the thing I wish they could have explored more in the movie. Like, how does this broken society affect Jim Gordon, a black man, being in a corrupted police department?
It showed. You want to know how it showed?
I wish they could have explored it a lot more.
You know how it showed? Because remember when they were talking down to him when Batman was captive? And they were like pretty much like talking down to Gordon. I'm like,
yeah.
If you ever see, when you watch this movie and you see that captive scene with Batman,
yeah,
you're really gonna love that scene.
Yeah. Oh God, you see where he's in a room full of cops, and you know they filmed that scene before lockdown. Okay. They filmed that scene. That's why it's so crowded. You know, there are a lot of scenes where there's a lot of crowds in this movie. You can't even tell that like 75% of the movie was filmed during COVID.
It looks like they did everything in like one room.
But the 25% of the movie was shot before they had lockdowns in March, and they started filming in January 2020, from January to the middle of March before the lockdown, and so much of what you saw in that first trailer in DC fandom was definitely in the final cut of the movie. But that scene where he's captive, he's around all those cops and they're trying to touch him, take off his mask, and he's like shoving them and knocking them around, you know, that was filmed in February of 2020, before the pandemic got really, really bad. So that's why it looks so like there's no obvious COVID rules at all. It just feels like the way the world was before lockdown, you know? Yeah.
But again, I love that scene for the fact that it shows the respect that Gordon has for Batman.
Right.
Again, this movie was for me 9 batterings out of 10.
Okay. Well, for me, my rating for the Batman is a 9.5. I do feel that Penguin was a disappointment. I feel the movie did not need to be almost 3 hours long. And there are probably a little too many characters in the movie, and that's the only reason why I don't give it a 10 out of 10. But I give it a 9.5. I think it's just as great as Batman Begins. But as a Batman movie, it's almost perfect because you got to see Batman being the greatest detective, the great detective he is. You got to see the themes of fear being explored in such an intelligent and mature way. You got to see such great plotting and concepts and philosophy and the psychology of Batman and the human condition really being done in a really, really great way.
I like what you said. Like, it was intelligently done. It wasn't played down. Like, you didn't dumb down for nothing. Like, it literally kept everything. It didn't make you feel stupid watching the movie. Yeah. At the same time, it made you feel like, damn, this is what it's about. Like, it makes you really think about shit.
And you have to really pay attention too. That's the thing. Like you don't even like. I talked to people who felt that the third act was a little bit random with the seawall. But if you pay attention to the movie and you listen to the newscasters and people talking in the background, they do talk about the seawall.
Right.
But it's like it's so hidden because Matt Reeves wanted that to be the surprise. But the seawall's in the movie.
I just like the fact that he kept that Cloverfield-ish type of mentality.
Yeah.
You know, and that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So, folks, again, definitely check out this movie.
Go see it.
You need to see this movie. This is definitely one of the ones that's going to be in my collection. If they come out with a box set, I'm definitely buying a box set.
I rarely buy Blu-rays anymore. So when it's on HBO Max, it's going to be in my queue. I will put it in my list and I'll watch it almost every day or every other day on HBO Max. It will be on HBO Max 46 days after it was released, so sometime in April.
Well, I'm telling you this, as soon as it comes out, I buy the physical copy. I'm a Blu-ray collector.
I'm hyped for the other DC movies now too. I'm excited for Black Adam, The Flash, Aquaman, Shazam, and breaking news, it was announced today that Aquaman 2 and The Flash got delayed into 2023.
Right.
So Aquaman 2 is coming out in March of 2023. They want to get that March money.
Right.
Yeah, that springtime opening weekend is big. And they also delayed The Flash into June of 2023, and they moved Shazam 2 into December of 2022. So Shazam 2 is going to be competing with Avatar 2. I'm rooting for Avatar, even though I like Shazam. I haven't even seen the first Shazam yet, but I really need to. I'm going to.
I just saw the first Shazam, and I don't know how I felt about it. Like,
Really?
It was one of
Okay.
those. It was one of those things. That was like, all right, I saw it. I'm good.
Yeah, that's usually the two reactions to Shazam. I have people telling me it's the greatest DC movie ever made, and then I have people who are like, well, it was okay. Well, it was fine. It was good.
I'm on the level like it was okay.
I've never met anyone who hates the movie. I've never met a single person that thought it was
that's the thing. I don't hate the movie.
Right, I've never met one person that hates it.
But at the same time, I don't. It's not going to be one of my top 10 or top 20.
Right. And if I see it, I might love it more than you.
Right. He might actually like it more than me, but for me, it was more like, like,
that's how I felt about the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad by James Gunn was a good, solid movie. I didn't feel it was a vast improvement over the first movie. Just like the first movie, it was still very juvenile, had a lot of silly jokes. Most of the characters I don't really care about too much. It was tough to take anything seriously because of the jokes and the humor.
I just wish they would have kept.
But it had a better structure. It had better filmmaking.
I just wish they would have kept the Suicide Squad to the animated movie.
Right.
The Escape from Arkham.
Yeah.
You know, if they would have kept it like around
Simple like that? Yeah.
I think the movie would have been a little bit more fluent.
Yeah. Speaking of Arkham, that's another thing I loved about the Batman with what Matt Reeves did. Matt Reeves changed the story structure so much that everything is connected to Bruce Wayne by making the Wayne family and the Arkham family cousins.
Right.
They're cousins, right? And wait a minute, and his mother Martha is an Arkham. She's an Arkham, right? And her mother was murdered in the movie when she was a kid, and her father committed suicide. So the rest of the Arkham family put her in and out of Arkham Asylum for years before she got stable, and she married Thomas Wayne, who is Bruce Wayne's father. So Bruce Wayne is half Arkham, half Wayne in the movie. So the Arkham in the prison is connected to the Wayne and their money.
Right.
So that means Bruce Wayne has money and connections to both Arkham Asylum and to the Wayne the Wayne Foundation, the Wayne Enterprise.
Right. And then Wayne, if you remember, Wayne is Gotham.
Yeah.
Wayne is so.
They did the construction of Gotham, right? They created.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you think if their family tree, it would be like Gotham married into Wayne, Gotham married into Arkham.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm telling this.
That's what I'm saying. Like Matt Reeves took the Batman story and he borrowed storytelling structures of Spider-Man comic books, Spider-Man movies, the recent trilogy, and a little bit of Game of Thrones elements. Because when you look at Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man comic books, what makes Spider-Man such a great superhero, and I love No Way Home, but what makes Spider-Man such a great superhero was that the villains, his friends, his allies are all connected to Spider-Man, either directly or indirectly, right? That's what Matt Reeves did with Batman and the Batman. He made Bruce Wayne and Batman, the Wayne family, interconnected. So the Arkham family is connected to Wayne. The Waynes are connected to Gotham because we know the Waynes helped build Gotham, right? And so did the Arkham family.
They married into Gotham.
They married into Gotham, but they made Gotham what it was. It became a powerful city because of the Wayne family. And so Bruce Wayne is connected with this tree-branching storyline of the Wayne family, the Arkham family, and everybody. And the way Matt Reeves did that was so brilliant and so subtle, and you don't even really think about it until after like a second viewing. And it really starts hitting you like, wow, he just connected everybody. Yeah. He connected everything to Batman.
And no matter how many times you go like away from it, it'll always revert back to
Batman. It always, no matter where you go or how far you go, it always goes back to Batman.
Yeah.
And that's what made this movie so great. So great.
Again, must see.
Must see.
Folks, definitely must see.
Yeah.
We're here live from Action Burger.
Yeah.
the owner, V. He's
Blaine Carter.
Blaine Carter. I call him V for sure.
V, okay.
He's gonna give the burger of the week,
Okay.
which is the pizza burger.
All right, so we have the pizza burger here. It's covered up.
Yeah, it's the pizza burger is actually so good.
Pretty good sandwich.
Oh my god, it's a burger with the pizza logs.
Yes.
So understand this. If you're a fat boy moment like me, this is gonna be great. Like I pulled the Scrooge McDuck. It's gonna be great.
The pizza burger is so good. It's a very good burger.
Yeah, so it has it's a brioche bun, beef burger, provolone cheese, garlic seasoning, and we got pizza logs at the bottom, a lot of marinara sauce all in between. So it tastes like a pizza with pepperoni. Pepperoni and cheese.
It's gonna give you a heart attack,
And
sir.
it's smelling good from here.
Yes.
But that's for you guys to try.
Okay. I guess I'll take one half. You take
Pick
that
up half.
Yep.
Hold on. Pick
Take
up
that
half, and then
You gotta pick up half and show it
and
to the
show
camera.
the middle
Oh,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Show
yeah.
the middle of it. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
That's that bad boy right there.
That's the good shot right there. You gotta zoom in on
All
that.
right.
That's that money shot.
I know.
Oh man, that looks good.
All right. So at the same time. On
1, 2, 3.
Lord have mercy.
Wow. I love Action Burger.
Well, it's
Oh man, I love this place. The food is just
it's
too
a good sandwich. It doesn't get much attention. But I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, my number one sandwich gets all the attention, but I still love this sandwich. This is still a great sandwich.
Mine is a bacon cheddar.
Mine's the mac and cheese burger. I love that
cheddar?
too.
You gotta try the specialty sandwiches, man. Even the pretzel burgers is good. Pretzel burger frenzy, tarragon, mac and cheese bacon burger. Those is all good too. And even
Wait. Pause for a second.
Yeah, I'm in the group chat.
Pause for a second. Did you just say mac and cheese bacon?
that's his favorite.
You never tried that? You never tried it?
His favorite is mac and cheese bacon burger. He comes
We're
all the
doing mac
time.
and cheese bacon next week.
Every time I get money, that's the sandwich I get.
Yeah, that's the best selling one.
We're doing mac and cheese bacon. It's bacon! Bacon next week. I'm doing that.
How about this Saturday?
It's insane. You guys could try the drink too. That's a Blue Hawaiian.
Yeah, we can do it next
Blue
week.
Hawaiian liquor slushy.
Next week.
It's good, right? Good
Yeah.
face, man.
That's crazy.
Did you ever see it?
Look at his face.
Hey, pass us the napkins. Pass us the napkins, Wayne. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
Guys, if you ever come down, please come down to Action Burger. You get to play video games, great food, great company. You get virgin drinks, alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
All the good stuff.
You can play your favorite video games too. Halo, Super Smash Brothers,
Halo Night Wednesdays.
Halo Night Wednesdays.
Halo Night Wednesdays.
Halo Night Wednesdays.
Late night, free food and drinks for all customers.
If you love Halo, you have to love
For
Halo.
Halo players.
And like one of the videos that we did years ago, like a couple of years ago, the fighting tournament, the Street Fighter tournament.
Oh yeah.
So we had if y'all remember in our vlogs before, I was in the Street Fighter tournament for third straight, and I came in third place.
Branch out.
That's good.
So you need to bring that third strike back up so we can.
If you got the people want to do it, you know, you can definitely set it up.
Yo, I got a list of people that want to do it. Like this, like
Wait, hold up. You guys got cheese fries here.
yes.
You gotta eat the cheese fries.
Oh,
too.
forgot to mention that. Cheese
Yeah.
fries is great too.
Yeah.
Cheese fries is
Cheese
great.
fries. You know,
Why? Because we're dangerously cheesy.
Oh, they got forks here for you guys if you want to use them. Forks.
I'm a man. How you doing, like dangerous? I'm a man.
By Conan.
How you think
All right. This has been a great event. This is my first time. I got this job last minute, so it's all good. This has been fun. This has been great.
Yeah, you make time in your busy schedule.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna try this Blue Hawaiian, which my favorite right now is the virgin cherry slushy.
That's virgin stuff. Liquor stuff there.
Yeah.
Blue Hawaiian. What's in there? That's rum.
Blue
syrup,
so then every time they fucked up.
Slushy.
So
cocoa cream.
yeah, then why not just share?
A lot of good stuff.
You smell this?
It's fucked up. I'm sure it's like that. And then the job.
Alright, it smells good. You should try the, what's the one I'm thinking of?
Mango Hennessy lemonade?
That's good too, but I was thinking about the one that's like with the cookies in it. It's like
Look at that face, his face is fresh.
it's good, right? But I'm thinking of
You're talking about liquor milkshakes.
the milkshakes, yeah. The milkshakes.
The milkshake,
The Ciroc
the
cookie
boys
dough.
league yard.
The Ciroc cookie dough is insane.
Oh, I love that
That's
one.
the best one.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Gravity chocolate.
That's my best one. You can get that for Halo Night.
I'm not drinking that. It's too sweet for me.
Halo Night.
I do the interracial fusion, which is black and white.
Some niggas, you need niggas that
Oh, that's good too.
That's my drink.
Last week I had the birthday one, right? The birthday cake one, the one with the brownie.
The great birthday liquor one or the birthday version? Oh, yeah, that's
the one
good
the
too.
one with the brownie.
The brownie is
I agree with that.
what's the brownie? That's chocolate brownie.
Chocolate, yeah, there's a chocolate brownie shake. Yo, that shit was diabetes in a cup. That was great. Like, so what you get today?
A lot of what we're
Diabetes.
mentioning has diabetes in the cup.
Like, what you do today? I got diabetes.
My feet are changing color.
Wait, yo, you want to try this? This is really good.
Okay, I got a straw. I got a straw. Just open the top. Open the top. Let's try it.
He wants me to open up the top.
You gotta show everything here.
He wants me to open it for him.
Guide to like voice, whatever movie or something, it's gonna be that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
Right
good.
back. I'm gonna show you some of my.
Woo, that's strong. That is good. Oh my goodness.
We're gonna leave happy.
We're gonna leave happy. Halo night is gonna be a happy night. It's all good. All right.
Oh man, this folks. Thank you again.
Thank you so
Love
much.
you all.
Thank
This
you.
is the Nerdy Life Show. Hey guys, this is the Nerdy Life Show, and we're here at Action Burger at.
292 Graham Avenue.
That's right. If you guys want to have a grand time, fun time with your friends, great food, great environment, video games, all that jazz, come on down and have some fun. They have pizza burgers, they have the mac and cheese with bacon, and they have cheese fries, and they have different, from virgin drinks to not so virgin drinks. Ooh la la.
Yeah, every type of drink. Every type of food.
So folks, please come on down. Thank you very much. We love you from the Nerdy Life Show. Come down to Action Burger and have some fun.
Live long and prosper.
Oh yeah.
If it's